Welcome home, horror fans. My name's Adam.
And I'm Zoe, and today we are looking at the latest horror release, Imaginary.
Every culture has a name for it. We call them imaginary friends.
I'll tell you what, this is actually a really fun film.
I quite enjoyed it.
Yes.
I think that it is about as good as it can get when it's a film about a killer teddy bear.
Yes.
Which, by the way, Chauncey, the teddy bear, he is amazing. I love him. I wish that we could have seen more of him, because for a film that is about a killer teddy bear, I feel like he is probably a little bit underutilized.
I want to say yes. I think that he's utilized a lot more in the second half of the film. I definitely felt like we were going to see more of him, before we did. But that being said, the film is good because it sort of, I guess, doles out these jump scares over time. And I've got to say, for a film that's also a little bit on the lower budget side, we'll say, they did very, very well with the jump scares and with the creepy feeling of the film.
The jump scares were done really well.
Yeah.
I am someone who definitely prefers jump scares when they are done in the background of shots, when there's no real loud noise or anything happening accompanying the jump scare, and rather it not being about the jump scare itself, but being something eerie in the background of a shot. And I think that this film does it pretty expertly. I would go to say that I found it pretty eerie, and I thought that it was all done really well.
Overall, jump scares great, and also just in general, it is a fun film. It's a fun film in the way that it actually portrays these things. I want to say that this film felt a lot like the plot of Insidious to me, without giving away too much.
Yeah,
it's very similar. If you've seen Insidious, which you probably have, the main storyline features a family that moves back into an old family home. The parent, in this case, doesn't quite remember what happened in their childhood, but something happened, and now that thing is happening to their child in almost the exact same way.
Yeah, it is definitely something that has taken a very, very, very great inspiration from Insidious, which I don't mind. I am one of those people, those weird people, I guess you would say, that didn't particularly love Insidious. I think that Insidious has a massive fan base, and I'm not going to go and...
I don't think the original has aged that well.
I'm not going to crap on it in any way, but for me, Insidious isn't really my thing, and I think that Imaginary does it pretty well. I like the idea of a killer teddy bear. That draws me in a little bit more than anything that Insidious could. It's definitely probably not as good technically as Insidious, but I think that the storyline works a little bit better and is more fun for me to enjoy.
Yeah, I don't know if Imaginary was almost trying to go for maybe a slightly younger audience, less of a straight up horror.
I would say so.
It's clearly a horror film, but it goes for maybe more of a younger skewed
with films
audience.
like Megan, with films like Five Nights at Freddy's that are all coming out, and they've come out, all within the last year or two. I think that horror is definitely trying to weasel its way within that teen and preteen
wider audience,
and definitely getting these M ratings, or in America's case, I suppose PG-13 ratings, so that kids are able to come and see it. And I definitely think
a family horror movie.
It's a family horror movie, and I definitely think that good on them. I don't really mind. I think that the more the merrier. And I think that anything that's going to keep little kids up at night, it's just better. Everything is better.
I can imagine kids being very scared at this film at certain times, for sure. That being said, it isn't a gory movie. It's not. There are creepy and scary, let's say, moments. But yeah, it's not a super bloody film or anything like that. It's just a straight up fun, jump scary type of horror film. We will say that with the budget being a bit on the lower end, we have a cast that's mostly unknown. Look, they did all right. No one's winning an Oscar in this.
No.
Let's say, so there is that.
I think Dee Wonder-Wise, who plays Jessica, the main character in this film, she is pretty good. I would say, for someone that I'd never really heard of before and never known from any other film before.
She carries the film well.
Yeah, I don't really have any downsides with her performance. I think that the person who we know that was in this film would have been Tom Paine, who is Jesus from The Walking Dead.
Yep.
And he is not so great.
He's not great.
So for someone that we were like, oh, Tom Paine's in it, like that'll be cool to see what he's doing after The Walking Dead, and to see his character and be like, oh, that's it.
Yeah. If you're a fan of The Walking Dead and you heard that Tom Payne was in this, his performance is pretty laughable, I want to say.
It is. I think that his performance is bad. Not only that, but the way his character is dressed, is written, everything about his character is insufferable. It's so hard to watch. But
it's almost like Tom Payne just turned up on set with whatever he was wearing that day and just read the lines as they were written.
Let's not try and be too negative, and we will say Tom Payne is not in it a whole lot. So don't let that deter you. It's a good film. It's worth seeing, especially at the cinema. I quite enjoyed it. I had fun.
Yeah, I think any film that does jump scares like this it's good to see it in an environment that holds your attention and is in the dark and is quiet and stuff like that. So I'm a fan. And look, this is obviously, we're still in the early part of the year, and I think this is again leading on from a couple of decent releases so far this year. I enjoyed it. It was entertaining throughout the whole film too. It didn't bore me at any time, which is always good. So I can't complain there. Besides maybe a few of the acting parts not being so average, and then also the fact that the storyline is pretty much the exact same as Insidious. Outside of that, it is a bit of fun. So look, if you're looking for a new horror movie to go see, and there are some big ones coming out this year, but until then, this one will fill the gap for you nicely.
Take your kids with you.
Yeah, that's right. Absolutely. Otherwise, guys, that's Imaginary from us, and we'll see you in the next video.
See you next time, guys.
Game over.